diving into an absolutely extraordinary story today. We usually think that to leave a really lasting mark on the world, we've got to be famous or have this massive bank account or, I don't know, launch some huge global movement. But today's source material proves that changing the world doesn't actually require any of those things. It's a story that's going to completely reframe how you think about your daily routines and, honestly, the invisible power you're holding on to right now. So let me ask you this. Can you actually change thousands of lives without a single person even knowing your name? It sounds completely impossible, right? I mean, in a world that is just obsessed with going viral and gaining followers, the whole idea of a massive invisible impact, well, it feels like a total contradiction. But we're going to look at the life of an ordinary guy named Ethan, who managed to achieve exactly that. He didn't want the spotlight, but the impact he left behind, absolutely staggering.
And what's truly mind-blowing here is the number 15. Ethan's incredible achievement wasn't born out of grueling 80-hour work weeks, and there was no massive financial investment. It was born entirely from one simple daily habit that took less than 15 minutes to complete, just a tiny fraction of his day. Let's explore exactly how he pulled this off.
Part 1. The Promise. An Unlikely Catalyst. So picture this. Ethan is 25, and he's attending his high school teacher's retirement party. During the event, his teacher makes this quiet, just incredibly vulnerable remark. He said, "You never truly know if you've made a difference." Imagine that. Spending your whole career teaching, pouring your absolute heart into students, and retiring with that kind of lingering doubt. Well, those words hit Ethan hard. Right then and there, on his way home, he made a promise to himself. He committed to a daily practice. No text messages, no social media posts. He promised to write one handwritten thank you letter every single day to someone who had made life just a little bit better. And this wasn't just some flimsy New Year's resolution that you forget by February. This became a lifelong anchor. It started right there at age 25. Just a week later, he wrote to the newspaper carrier. A few months after that, the local barista. And this evening routine stretched unbroken all the way to a stunning discovery 20 years later. Part 2. The First Letters. Recognizing the Invisible.
His very first letter didn't go to some big celebrity or politician. Nope. It went to the woman who delivered newspapers in his neighborhood. She'd been out there working in the harsh weather for years, completely unnoticed. Well, just a week after Ethan sent that letter, she actually replied. She wrote, "I was planning to quit. Your letter reminded me that someone noticed." That was the moment Ethan realized something absolutely crucial. People have this fundamental human need to be seen. It goes way, way beyond just needing a paycheck to survive.
That realization completely shaped Ethan's routine. Every single evening after work, he'd sit down at his small wooden desk and deliberately choose to thank the quiet heroes. We're talking nurses, janitors, bus drivers, teachers, gardeners, security guards, firefighters, and librarians. Basically the people whose work quietly and consistently hold society together, yet they literally never get a standing ovation. And the thing is, Ethan never expected replies. Just the simple act of sitting down and writing the letters became its own reward. To put this into perspective, think about the long-term trajectory of just one single letter. Take Chloe, for example. On a rainy afternoon, Ethan simply thanked this young barista for always remembering her customers' names. Well, months later, she revealed that his letter arrived on the exact day she was planning to quit, and it's the reason she decided to stay. Years later, Chloe opened her very own cafe, and she had Ethan's letter framed right there on the wall. One 15-minute letter literally helped build a business. It's like a giant puzzle where one tiny piece completely changes the whole picture.
Part 3. The Ripple Effect. Multiplied Kindness. You see, what Ethan didn't know was that his habit was sparking a massive chain reaction. The people getting these letters were so incredibly moved that they started writing their own. Teachers were thanking students, kids were thanking parents, managers were thanking employees. The idea spread like wildfire, completely under the radar.
Part 4. The Discovery, 20 years later. Fast forward 2 whole decades, and a curious journalist finally uncovers this completely invisible routine. When she sat down with Ethan and asked him exactly how many letters he had written, he just smiled. He told her he actually stopped counting after 7,000. Can you imagine? 7,000 evenings sitting at that wooden desk, 7,000 individuals who were told straight up that they matter. That right there is the visual punch of true consistency. So naturally, the reporter asks him, why? Why keep this up for over 20 years without expecting a single thing in return? And Ethan provided this profound, really foundational reasoning. He said, because appreciation expires only when it's left unsaid. Wow, that is just an incredibly powerful takeaway for today's explainer. Think about it. If you feel gratitude but you don't express it, it's basically as if it never existed at all.
Part 5. The Surprise Gathering. Seeing the Impact. Okay, this is where it gets really emotional. The town secretly organized a massive gathering to bring Ethan face to face with the reality of what he'd done. Hundreds of people showed up, and they started stepping forward holding these old, worn-out envelopes. There was a firefighter who had almost resigned because of the mental toll of the job, a teacher who had regained her confidence to keep educating, a widower who found just a glimmer of hope in his darkest moment, and a student who chose to go to college instead of giving up on their future. Ethan was literally moved to tears, not because they were praising him, but because he finally saw how his simple kindness had multiplied so far beyond his wildest imagination. Part 6. Ethan's Final Lesson. An Anonymous Gift.
As the years went by and Ethan's hands naturally grew a bit slower, he wrote one final, unaddressed letter. He just slipped it inside a library book for a total stranger to find. It simply read, "To whoever finds this, never underestimate a kind word. You may forget what you wrote, but someone else may remember it for the rest of their life." And that right there perfectly encapsulates his ultimate realization about the permanence of a simple, kind word. We might totally forget the brief 15 minutes we took to encourage someone, but for them, those words can become a lifelong shield against doubt.
You know, we so often hold on to these grand illusions about what actually changes the world. We think it takes huge financial donations or some brilliant technological invention or a famous speech delivered to millions of people. But the beautiful, completely accessible reality proven by Ethan's story is this: changing the world simply starts with making one person feel seen. Kindness grows when it's shared, gratitude grows when it's expressed, and hope grows when it's noticed.
So let's bring this right back to you. Today, right now, someone in your life absolutely deserves some appreciation. Maybe it's a coworker who quietly helps you out, a family member who's literally always there, or a local worker who makes your day just slightly easier. Honestly, they might have never actually heard the words thank you for what they do. Please, don't wait. Tell them today. Because, as we learned from Ethan, delayed appreciation is almost always forgotten appreciation.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative question. Who will be the first person to receive your letter? You have the exact same power Ethan had. You can literally start your own ripple effect today. If this story resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to Gravonix Stories for more original explainers just like this one. And hey, jump into the comments right now and type "Gratitude changes everything," because one sincere thank you from you could become the beginning of someone else's brand new chapter. Thanks so much for joining me on today's explainer, and seriously, go write that letter.